Okay, guys, we're in here for part 2. Now this time, this is gonna be a pretty long match. A lot of crazy stuff happens. Looks like they're running a rain team. So once again, this is on the spear pillar. I'll make sure to put a link down in the Discord below. If you guys are interested in any of the tournaments. But it's still the multi-battle. If you guys don't remember from last time, I can't communicate with my partner. Both kind of playing on our own. So I'm just kind of hoping things go well. Um, so Toasty in this case brought Raikou and Gastrodon. I honestly earlier didn't even know you could look at my opponent's team, so I didn't even realize they were running rain. So I just brought this standard thing, but Toasty saw it, so he brought the Gastrodon. Um, so right now the Dragonite seems pretty scary if I remember. I try to taunt it just because I feel like that that the Dragonite could be like a Dragon Dance set. I just want to stop that so it doesn't start sweeping. So I just go for a taunt and just taunt it. However, this turns out to be like some special set, probably like Thunder, Hurricane, Draco Meteor, or something like that. And of course my Gyarados gets taken out because I did not expect that at all. So here I just decide to bring out my Zapdos. Most other stuff is water types, and they don't have that many ground types. So right now the double lightning attack should be pretty efficient for us. Both of us are already down 1 Mon, so there's not much we can really do. However, we're firing off 2 Thunderbolts here. If we happen to pick the same targets, we'll probably take one of them out. However, most likely, I think we don't pick. Yeah, I think we don't pick the same targets. We get hit pretty hard by the Surf. Luckily, that Surf breaks the multi-scale off of the not the Gyarados, the Dragonite. So that makes it a little easier. We do get the paralysis on Kingdra. However, it has a Citrus Berry, but I think it's still a 2-hit KO. Thunderbolt on the Dragonite does a fair amount. Another Thunder coming in again, this time on Zapdos, does a fair amount of damage, quite a bit. However, now we're still free to fire off Thunderbolts again, and it could get knockouts. However, I think they probably brought like Swampert or Gastrodon here, so yeah. However, Raikou here goes for the Thunderbolt. Surprisingly, the Kingdra is not Swiss Swim. I just realized that. Oh, actually, it got paralyzed, so that's probably why. It, yeah. Now, into the Metagross. And I remember for last video, the last Metagross was pretty scary. I think I'm planning on switching here, mainly because Gastrodon, I can't really touch it with Zapdos, but I think I decide to just try and hit the Metagross. I think if we can double down on it, we can probably take it out. Gastrodon, pretty scary though. I'm pretty sure with a Scald or even a Surf, it can take out my Zapdos. Here, Toasty actually decides to swap out into the Latios, probably predicting like a Earth Power on the Raikou. We dodged a Meteor Mash, luckily. I don't know if I lived that or not. I'm pretty low, so probably not. But we luckily dodge it, so we're probably able to get some easy damage on the right side of the field. And of course, the Earth Power does not connect onto Latios. So this is relatively a good turn for us. We got a little bit lucky here. We're here, we're just free to fire off moves. Nothing here really outspeeds us. Thunderbolt's really free. Though this Gastrodon may be able to live a Draco Meteor if it's like specially defensive or something like that. So maybe Zapdos gets taken out here by like a Surf or something. But Toasty goes for the Draco Meteor. I do not believe this knocks it out. I think it is, yeah, it lives quite comfortably. Life Orb takes a little bit of chip. Thunderbolt takes out the Metagross. It didn't really get to do much. Sludge Bomb comes out and does a bit of damage on the Latios. Not quite enough. Zapdos still sticks around. Now it's a 2v1. So I'm pretty safe to just go into a Gardevoir. I don't really have a better place. I can't really touch this Gastrodon. So here I just have to spam moves. Another Draco Meteor comes out. Doing a little bit less than before, but I think, yeah, it's still enough to get the knockout. Because it was a crit. I don't know if the crit mattered there. Maybe it still kills at that range. I'm not sure. But we take the Life Orb chip, and now we have Latios and Gardevoir in the field. So the Latios will probably switch out now. Its special attack, it's really low. So a switch is probably the best play here, and I think Toasty does switch. Regardless, I'm free to fire off Moonblasts. I think a Dragonite's still alive, so yeah, I don't really have much better play here, so I decided to just keep Zapdos around, I think. I might have switched, though, just because I felt like I could have saved Gardevoir. Yeah, I do switch, because I think my thought process was that I could have saved Gardevoir for Dragonite if I needed it, and if they killed Zapdos here, it didn't really matter, because that means it didn't go for Toasty. However, Toasty goes into Gastrodon. Storm Drain makes things pretty clutch. It just gives us the best possible outcome. So here, I almost went for Discharge because I realized it was really free, but Discharge just less damage than Thunderbolt. I think I actually just go for Volt Switch so I can go back into the Gardevoir for the Dragonite. But both Volt Switch and Thunderbolt would have been fine because I think that Thunderbolt is enough for so the Kabutops goes for a Leech Life here. But yeah, the Volt Switch is enough damage. Take out the Kabutops, and then I can bring back Gardevoir to take out Dragonite with a Moonblast. So yeah, game one went by pretty quick. It was mainly focusing in on the right side first that really helped us out here. It just kind of basically made a 2v1. So here the Moonblast just comes out and it takes out the Dragonite. So that was it for game one. After this, we get 2 minutes to discuss strategy. So me and Toasty talk things out, and we change up our strategy a little bit. I believe we decided that Toasty should have the same Mons. I changed things up a bit. I decided to bring Pachirisu, and I decided also to bring Tyranitar here because I really wanted to stop the rain so that they don't get any sweepers and stuff like that. But I believe the only sweeper they have is Kingdra, so it wasn't that bad. So here I decided to lead with the Gardevoir, because I felt it was also a pretty strong lead if I decided to bring Dragonite again. However, this is a really bad turn one for us. There's not really much I can do. I don't really have a good switch in. The Raikou can't really do much here. Swampert kind of stops Raikou pretty bad. So here I just had to Focus Blast. I think I don't really have a good switch in. I don't really want to switch in Pachirisu because I feel like the Earthquake from Swampert is just too easy if it's like Protect, Magnezone. So I decided to go for the Focus Blast to get some damage. Unfortunately, I missed, but I barely live because this is not like Specs Magnezone. This is probably something else. They go for Stealth Rocks, which is really whatever. It guarantees the knockout on Gardevoir, so I can't really try and predict and like switch out I basically have to go for Focus Blast because if I switch Gardevoir, it's just gonna come back in and get itself killed with the rocks. So I have no choice but to go for Focus Blast. I could have probably tried Focus Blasting the Swampert because, as you'll see, they go for Protect here. So, and I was thinking about that going for the Swampert because I felt like the Magnezone's probably Protect. However, I just locked in the Magnezone already. I kind of just admitted that Gardevoir was out at this point. However, Gashadon here, I think Toasty goes for an Earth Power in the Magnezone. So yeah, the Magnezone protects, which is pretty bad. Um, Now the Focus Blast does not hit, and the Swampert decides to fling its Toxic Orb, which deals damage, and it poisons the oh man, I forgot this monster's name. Gashadon. Sorry, I never used Gashadon a lot. It's not one I really use that much. Just didn't forget, but it poisons the Gashadon, which is pretty bad because we kind of need Gashadon to be able to tank stuff, and we need to keep it healthy so that the Storm Drain can neutralize their water moves, or at least cancel them out. So here I just try for the Focus Blast again, but now Dragonite gets to come out. That finally connect, but yeah, all this is doing is breaking the multi-scale, unfortunately. And now the Earthquake is able to take me out. So yeah, Earth Power connects into the Swampert and does a fair amount of damage, whittling down a little bit. The Swampert has no recovery, so each damage that's put on it is good. However, our Gashon is now taking even more damage. It goes to Citrus Berry range, but I think it's a Citrus Berry. So now it's kind of tough for me because Swampert's out. It can take out Tyranitar, and I'm not sure if I quite want to go into Pachirisu because the Earthquake could deal a little bit too much damage that I don't want. So I think I decided just to go for Tyranitar because it's the best play I have. I don't really have much I can really do. Fortunately, now that the sand is up, I can't bring the sand in to get rid of their rain if they decide to bring it in. I think I consider protecting or Dragon Dancing here. Yeah, I protect. I should probably Rock Slided just to get damage on the Dragonite, but I think I was just afraid that the Swampert would try to go after me with like a Waterfall or something. Though in retrospect, I should have probably Dragon Danced, because yeah, now they bring in their Pelipper. Either Dragon Danced or Rock Slided, because the Rock Slide could have done a fair amount to the Pelipper. I'm not quite sure why I protected. I don't really remember, but I protect here, and the Gashon actually goes for a Yawn on the Magnezone, so that's pretty interesting. Unfortunately, though, the Gashon's taking even more toxic damage. It's getting even more and more just whittled down. At some point, it's got to switch out just so that it stays healthy. And yeah, I don't really have much plays. Again, I don't really have much switching to the Magnezone. However, I think now going out into Pachirisu is relatively safe. Both of those mons can't really do much to Pachirisu, and I can tank the Flash Cannon quite well, especially since it's not Specs. And even if the Pelipper has, like, I don't even know if it gets Hurricane and BDSP, but I could probably tank that quite well. So I go into Pachirisu, take the Stealth Rock chip. Luckily, the Volt Switch allows me to get a bit of my health back and let the Magnezone stay in. And they do have Hurricane, and it does a fair amount of damage to the Gashadon and confuses, and it gets hit in confusion. And because of all the toxic damage that has added up, this is going to be it for the Gashadon. So this was quite unfortunate. I believe Toasty, he told me afterwards that he was trying to go for Recover, but at this point it was kind of just too late. But yeah, after all the games were done, he told me that he was trying to go for Recover, but unfortunately the confusion did not let him do that. Um, Still though, now Raikou gets to come in. Raikou can just deal with Pelipper quite well. Here I'm just going for a Super Fang. The Pachirisu can't really do much on its own. All I can really do is redirect moves. Um, so here the Super Fang actually ends up working uh, relatively well. It gets good chip on the Swampert, and the Discharge is able to heal me. Um, However, both of us can't really touch the Swampert now because the Swampert Summer's immune to the Discharge, and Super Fang is not ever gonna kill the Swampert. So here I think I decide to either protect or I try to follow me. Yeah, I protect. And Toasty switches out into Latios. Probably to tank like an Earthquake or something. I'm not sure if they do go for Earthquake. I think they just go for like Waterfall or something. Magnezone wakes up, goes Protect. Yeah, now the Swampert goes for Earthquake. However, we all get protected, and the Latios is levitating off the ground. So we're good in that regard. Now the Toxic is adding up on the Swampert. Here, I think I just try to follow me so I can possibly protect the Latios. Yeah, I'm just trying to redirect damage. You also the Latios can get even more damage out with like a Psychic or like a Draco Meteor. Um, just get damage on the board. Swampert switches out into Ludicolo. Now this Ludicolo ends up being quite the threat. Um, it is definitely very annoying, as you guys will see later on. It has a pretty crazy strategy. Um, Unfortunately, I guess, since we can't communicate, uh, Toasty goes for the protect while I follow me. So that's a little unfortunate. We just get a little bit of extra chip on Pachirisu as a result of that. But I'm just going to keep trying to go for follow me. I just want the Latios to get damage out there just so that we can eliminate these Pokemon. Uh, and really, so I can just keep the Latios healthy. So I keep trying to follow me just to try to protect the Latios. However, Toasty decides to switch into the Raikou. Uh, and here I try to follow me. Just redirect the damage onto me so I can tank it. I was thinking that Ludicolo might have gone for like an Ice Beam or something. But we'll see later that the Ludicolo is really interesting. It turns out to be a sub-Leech Seed Rain Dish set with leftovers. So this is certainly something. It's quite interesting. Uh, Here I'm thinking, my thought process was, okay, Toasty's probably gonna go for the Discharge and break the Substitute. So I was hoping that afterwards I could nuzzle the Ludicolo so that it wouldn't be that much of an issue. Because originally I thought it was just like a sub offensive set and it just subs to give itself a little bit of protection. But it turns out later that this is something else. So the Flash Cannon comes out this time. I cannot protect the Raikou, so I'm going for the Nuzzle. Ludicolo luckily gets paralyzed here with the Rain Dish and the leftovers, so just gonna give it all this recovery. Um, so yeah, we basically made no progress on that health bar other than paralyzing it. Um, so here I just decide to Super Fang. I think Ludicolo just because I wanted to whittle it down. And I wanted to just get rid of it, especially since I knew that after the discharge, it would break the sub if they went for it again. I think we're faster though, so they could maybe. Oh, I'm just faster than Lucola in general. So the Super Fan gets quite a bit of damage on it. Flash Cannon again onto the Raikou, whittling it down little by little. Uh, the Ludicolo goes for a Leech Seed on the Pachirisu, so this is kind of scarier now because now they're getting Rain Dish, they're getting Leftovers, now they're getting Leech Seed. Luckily though, the rain stops, so they're not getting that much recovery, and if they have like Scald or something, it's not quite as efficient. However, they're still healing quite a bit. And they're tanking the discharges quite well. Here I decided to just follow me so I can protect the Raikou because it's taking way too much damage from those flash cannons. And if this Ludicolo decides to attack, it can get pretty scary. So they go back into the Swampert, which is really low. At this one, it's probably going to die to the Toxic. I decide to follow me, yeah, just to try to protect the Raikou a little bit. The Raikou heals me with the discharge. Gets a little bit of chip on the Magnezone. Of course, Swampert is untouched by this. Magnezone gets taken out, so my follow me was a little bit useless. But I just wanted to be safe, especially if that Ludicolo decided to go for like a Scald or a Giga Drain, anything like that. Fortunately, the Swampert is healing from that Leech Seed that was put on the Pachirisu. I think at some point I decided to switch out because I wanted to get rid of that Swampert. That Swampert's what's stopping us from just spamming electric type moves. I believe Toasty swaps here too, just because. Oh, actually, I don't know if I swap. This Dragonite is pretty scary. I think I just decide to, because here I could possibly tank with Swampert, but yeah, I do decide to swap just so I can tank a little bit better. If they go for Earthquake, that's a little bit unfortunate, but I believe I can tank it quite well. Regardless, the Toxic should be taking out the Swampert now, so that's mainly what I want. I mainly just wanted Swampert to be out so that the Raikou could just keep spamming discharges, just deal damage. And with Raikou and Pachirisu out, we're going to have like a little bit of combo of me getting healed and Raikou just spamming discharges. So it does not affect the Swampert. We deal a little bit of damage on the Dragonite. Now we paralyze, which is pretty lucky. However, Discharge does have a higher chance to paralyze than the what's it called? The Thunderbolt. So it's a fair chance. Unfortunately, the Swampert decides to lock on to the Raikou. I could have probably tried following me there. I was kind of thinking that Toasty might have swapped there, but now it's kind of down to the Tyranitar. Now Latios comes out. Latios should be able to get some good damage on Ludicolo, which is mainly our biggest threat right now. Unfortunately, Pelipper is still alive, so they get the rain back up. Here though, the Rock Slide is pretty free. Though it's very likely that there's a swap here, possibly in the Ludicolo, and I doubt I'm dealing much damage to Ludicolo. So Draco Meteor actually comes out here onto the Dragonite, which is interesting, because now the Latios is a little bit weak. It's gonna be kind of hard to deal with at Ludicolo. However, a Rock Slide also comes out. I don't think it kills the Pelipper though, and I don't think it flinches either. But yeah, it gets pretty close, but the Pelipper's probably defensive. It does flinch, which is a little bit lucky. We are hacking a little bit, but I do believe falling behind a little bit. Like Kabutops is out now, and I see now that Latios is the only one left. I didn't realize. I forgot. So it's a little bit unfortunate. Now we're kind of on the losing side right here because the Ludicolo, we don't really have much for it. Pachirisu can't take it out. Latios is weakened from that Draco Meteor. And I don't think Tyranitar can beat Ludicolo, especially with the rain. I could try crunching it. I could try doing whatever. Here I decided to protect because I feel like they probably want to take me out. Uh, Unfortunately, though, uh, it turns out that this Kabutops, as we saw from the previous game, it has the leech life. So it's just able to take out Latios in one shot, and they go for it instead of me. So I kind of just sit there and not able to do anything. So now it's 2 versus 1, and both of my mons are either really passive or can't really get going right now. So at this point, it's kind of over. I just try to fight, maybe get some flinches with rock slides, do whatever. But this Kabutops, it's Swift Swim probably, and it's doing too much damage. I try swapping out just so I can possibly get the sand back up, but Pelipper's still alive, so they can just bring it in whenever they want. And yeah, unfortunately, this Pachirisu is just really taking way too much damage. This is probably banded Kabutops now that I think about it, considering it keeps going for Leech Slice as opposed to like Scald. Well, yeah, the battle's about to end, but I mean, it's basically over for me. Pachirisu can't really do anything, can't really fight against all these guys, especially with the amount of time left. Like, the only chance I probably had is Pachirisu paralyzing both of them, taking them out that way. But even then, I can't possibly knock out both of them just because I don't really have a reliable attacking move. It's just like Nuzzle and Super Fang. So I just try nuzzling the Kabutops, maybe giving my Tyranitar a chance. It turns out it's not banded. I guess they just went for Leech Life there. The Scald's coming out, and the Waterfall's coming out in the rain. Still doing a little bit too much damage. So here now my only option is going to Tyranitar, and at this point Tyranitar cannot really do anything. It's really weak at this point. It's half health. The Pelipper's coming in again, and because of dynamic speed changes, the Kabutops is gonna get Swift Swim right away, and it's gonna be game over from there. The Waterfall boosted and everything. It's gonna take me out. So yeah, that means we get to move on to the game 3. This was still an exciting game. It was relatively close. I feel like a little plays went a little bit different. Maybe if I didn't miss the Focus Blast early on, maybe things would have been a little bit different. But we did hacks a little bit, so with those flinches and those paralyzes. So it was a little bit fair in terms of luck. But yeah, now we go into game 3. Now I decide that Tyranitar is not really the most useful. I felt like changing the weather didn't really matter because I felt like there's sweepers that they had. We could deal with them with other ways, such as Kingdra and Kabutops. I felt like we could have dealt them with other ways. I also felt like the Mons that Toasty had from all those games also worked well. So during the 2-minute break that we had to discuss strategy, we decided that he should keep the same Mons. However, I decided for game 3 to basically keep the same stuff, but I decided to keep to swap into Garchomp just because I felt with the Focus Sash I would have been able to deal with a lot of stuff by surprise. Just I think yeah, I also swapped Gardevoir for Zapdos because I felt like it felt better against most of their team members. Still dealt with Tyranitar not Tyranitar, with Dragonite quite well, and a lot of stuff like this Gyarados here. So I decided Zapdos was probably overall a better pick. However, looks like a Swampert again goes for the fling, this time on the Latios. The Latios is going to be taking a lot of chip here. It's going to be taking. Sorry guys, it looks like my headset disconnected again like in the last video. I don't know why it's doing that. I'm not really sure why. It's a Bluetooth headset. It's been having issues lately. I'm not really sure why. Uh, Maybe it needs to update or something. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, Latios gets chipped a lot, and if I remember correctly, Toasty was he he did not like the Swampert and what it did the last game, so he's wanted to get rid of it right away. Not sure if that was the best strategy, but it worked. We got rid of the Swampert, and I mean it allows us to spam electric type moves a lot more. The Ice Fang comes out from the Gyarados. We do get the static off, um, but they flinch us, so that's quite unfortunate. I guess for both of us, because now I lose a lot of health, and the Gyarados is now really slow. It's useless. However, if I had not gotten flinch, I would have probably taken it out. So this is probably best case scenario for them, really, because otherwise the electric type move would just destroy the Gyarados. Um, Here I go for the discharge still, just because it's still safe. I'm still faster than the Gyarados now that the paralysis is activated. So he decides to swap out into Gastrodon, probably realizing that I'm going for a discharge. But now they go into their own Gastrodon. So Greg and Gary, a pretty legendary battle here. 2 Gs, you know. You got the West and the East, you know. So it's pretty crazy. They kind of both sit on each other. They kind of don't really do much, except to the other mons that are around them. Now Ludicolo is out, and I'm just like, bruh. So I think I decided to stay in just so I can get damage on the Ludicolo, maybe paralyze it even. I just wanted to get rid of it, and I wasn't really afraid to lose Zapdos at this point because I felt like the Raikou on Toasty's team could have probably dealt with the Gyarados if it comes out again. So I just decided to just go ahead and go for the discharge, get damage on this Ludicolo, and it tanks quite well. I think that our opponents told us after the game was done that the Ludicolo was actually specially defensive, so it's tanking all these hits quite well. Now the Giga Drain is just making it get all its health back. Gastrodon tanked it quite well though, and went back up with its Citrus Berry. However, now it goes for a Yawn, trying to hopefully neutralize this Ludicolo. Unfortunately, now it gets poisoned, so now its health is going even lower to 37. Here I just decide I need to keep spamming discharges, but I need to be careful because I don't want to hurt one of my teammates' mons. But I think it's just for the best that I just try to get damage out. Just to weaken this. I'm thinking the Gastrodon does decide to stay in. They probably predicted like a switch or something or a protect. So I think they don't go for a Giga Drain. I think they get paralyzed because yeah, I know I paralyzed them, which is unfortunate because that means the Yawn doesn't get to go off. But Ludicolo just decides to go for a substitute. They probably thought that we wouldn't stay in with Gastrodon anymore now that they revealed the Giga Drain. So now the Sludge Bomb goes into the Zapdos. I live barely. I wonder if Scald would have done more there because of the rain. Maybe. But I barely hang on from that Sludge Bomb. I decided it's probably for the best to just try to switch out. Try to just try to deal with this with Pachirisu. I felt like maybe preserving the Zapdos at this point was important. However, this Ludicolo is, you know, going to do its thing once again with the substitute and the Leech Seed and the Rain Dish and all of that, and it's gonna get a lot of value, a lot of recovery. It's gonna be hard to deal with. Now, Latios gets to come out. The Giga Drain does a little bit of damage, but not quite that much to put in range of the Toxic. The Ludicolo gets even more health back. The Sludge Bomb connects onto the Pachirisu. Luckily, it doesn't poison there, but it would have definitely killed Zapdos, so I swapped into Pachirisu. Oh, so at this point I was confused as to why they kept going for Sludge Bomb. I actually suspected that it was probably like specs or something, but it turns out it wasn't. I think they change up their moves here. I think they go for an Earth Power here. Um, do I think I protect here. I wasn't paying attention for a second. Yeah, I protect just because I figure that maybe they go for Sludge Bomb again or for Earth Power if they have it. Um, here, Toasty decides to roost just to try to keep the Latios a bit healthier. But it's getting whittled down quite a bit. However, the Leech Seed now, instead of goes to the Pachirisu, it goes into the Latios when I was getting worn down like, quite a bit with the Leech and the Toxic. It's going to be hard to come back from this. But yeah, I'll protect. I'm safe from the Gastrodon. This Ludicolo healing all the way back up with the Leech Seed and the leftovers. So all progress gets kind of set back at this point. So now I'm just kind of thinking. I'm thinking that I'm surprised I went for the Gastrodon because I was thinking that maybe Toasty would go for the Ludicolo. He goes for the Draco Meteor to break the sub. I'm not sure why he didn't go for Psychic just to break it, but the Draco Meteor comes out and weakens Latios. I Super Fang the Gastrodon, but now the Ludicolo gets its Leech Seed out on my Pachirisu. So now it's getting 2 Leech Seeds at once. I just got a big hit from the Earth Power. And there's the Rain Dish and the leftovers. So this Ludicolo, I think it gets all the way back to full for sure now. Yeah, it was already close to full anyway, so now it's all the way back to full, which is really unfortunate. Actually, now that I think about it, I think this Latios doesn't have Psychic. I think it has like Surf instead or something. So maybe that's why he wasn't going for it. Um, so that's kind of my mistake. Now that I've realized it, I think that Latios had Surf instead of Psychic. So maybe that's why he keeps going for Draco Meteor. Maybe on retrospect, we should have put a Psychic instead of a Surf. But here the Ludicolo actually dodges the Draco Meteor and sets up another sub. Here I just bring in Zapdos just to try to get damage in on the Ludicolo just because it just needs to get taken out. Otherwise, it's gonna just roll right through us. So yeah, it's getting even more health. It gets health from the Leech Seed on the Latios. Yeah, now Latios just gets taken out here. So now we're at a pretty big disadvantage. Their Gastrodon is pretty healthy. Their Ludicolo is pretty healthy. And both of our Mons, pretty much all of our Mons really are worn down. So we're quite of a disadvantage. However, I still have Garchomp, still alive, still Sash intact. So that could maybe come back for us later. Should be interesting. I think Toshi just goes into Raikou here. And we just decide to just spam electric type attacks onto the Ludicolo. Oh, he goes into Gastrodon instead. So here I think I decided to go for Discharge or something. Alright, maybe I Volt Switch. I was thinking about Hyper Beam as well for the Gastrodon, but I just decided to go for the Thunderbolt just for damage on the Ludicolo. Just to try to take it out, but I think... Okay, so he tries to just go for the Yawn here. Where Ludicolo is now paralyzed, which is fairly good. However, the Sludge Bomb does come out, and it takes out my Zapdos, which is really unfortunate. It's really all I got to do is break that sub. So now I'm just down to Garchomp. So I'm kind of hoping Garchomp can pull through here. Because it's kind of our last shot. Oh, well, Pachirisu's still alive, but it's way too unhealthy. Uh, can't really do much here. So here, yeah, I decided to just go for damage on the Ludicolo. It needs to get taken out. It's too much of a threat at this point. It's just wearing us down. It's dealing way too much damage. So I decide I just need damage on this. Unfortunately, this Garchomp, because it's Focus Sash, doesn't have like a Choice Band, or doesn't have like a Life Orb, it's not gonna hit that hard. Toasted decides to swap out, going out into the Raikou, possibly to deal more damage. The Gashna also swaps out here into the Gyarados, probably to weaken my my Garchomp, which works out quite well because now this Dragon Claw is not gonna do a lot to the. Yeah, it only deals very little. Luckily, the Ludicolo gets paralyzed, so we don't get to see like another Leech Seed or something like that. Now here, Toasty's just free to spam Discharge because both of my monsters that are still alive are immune to it. So I'm just free to just go for Rock Slides, Dragon Dances. So here to go back into Grasshopper again, probably to try to Intimidate Cycle. So here comes the Discharge. Does a fair amount of Ludicolo. I have Rock Slide. Now what I was trying to do is do the chance to paralyze, chance to flinch. But it looks like the chance to miss Leech Seed is what happened here. So I'm not sure what the odds were of that connecting, given that there was a chance of paralysis and a chance to flinch. But I think they were more in our favor for that to not happen. So not really sure if it's too much hacks, I guess. But it was definitely a lot of stuff that stacked on top of that. Here the Discharge comes out again, dealing damage on the Ludicolo. Now the Ludicolo gets taken out with the Discharge, so this is really good for us because now we can start focusing on Mar. The Rock Slide comes out. I kind of just wanted to try and flinch both of them, but the Gashonon still gets to do an Earth Power, and it does quite a lot to the Raikou, so that's pretty scary. Because we kind of need Raikou to defeat that Gyarados. So here I'm kind of thinking, okay, my Garchomp's pretty weak, so I should probably just go into Pachirisu. It's not really much useful anymore. Can't really do much to the Gashonon, and it basically it gets set up on by Gyarados, and the Gyarados probably knocks it out with a Waterfall too. So Pachirisu is pretty useless here, so I just go out into it. I think here I just try to follow me, just to try to let the Gastrodon do whatever it needs to do. It barely lives from the poison. Or I think I Super Fang? Yeah, I think. Yeah, I was just thinking that maybe with Garchomp I can take out this Gastrodon, so yeah. I just go for the Super Fang. Gastrodon actually outspeeds his Gastrodon, the opposing Gastrodon, so we get the recover here. Gastrodon goes for Earth Power again, trying to finish off our Gastrodon, and this time a crit. So I don't know if things would have gone much differently because of the speed tie, but regardless, oh well. We lived that crit Earth Power anyway, so I don't know if the speed tie really mattered, but it looks like we would have gone into... Actually, no, because, yeah, we were really low. We probably died to that Earth Power. So that speed tie was interesting, to say the least. So, yeah, here I just go for Super Fang. Again, try to whittle this down. I just want the Garchomp to be able to cleanly one-hit KO this with, like, a Dragon Claw. Here, once again, we outspeed. So maybe it's not a speed tie. Maybe they have, like, a negative speed nature or something like that. So... maybe the Gastrodon is just able to outspeed every time here. So managed to outspeed and get the Yawn. So that basically makes their Gastrodon pretty weak right now. It's gonna fall asleep. It's taking a lot of damage from the Super Fang. And now Raikou gets to come in. However, the Draco was choice specs, so it's got to choose its next move quite carefully. I think Toasty decides to go for the discharge, but it ends up being the correct play. I think, despite it not really doing much here, especially considering that I can't touch this Gashadon either. I end up getting healed. Super Fang gets to come out onto the Gashadon, do quite a bit of damage. However, they decide to just Earth Power and take out my Pachirisu. Maybe if they spam recover, things would have been a little bit more interesting. But yeah, now the Gashadon is sleep. It's really weak. And now I only have the choice to bring Garchomp out. So it's up to Garchomp and Raikou. At this point, the game's pretty close. They still have all their Mons left, but it's kind of just all up to one Mon to take all of these out. Discharge doesn't really do much here, but the Dragon Claw gets to come out and takes out the Gashadon. So here my Sash is still intact. The Raikou doesn't have any speed drops, so this Kabutops is not really much of a threat. I'm just free to Dragon Claw for damage to break any sashes if it by any chance has any. Discharge, however, just takes it out. So yeah, now only Gyarados is left. So now here, it's just maybe a Rock Slide can get it, maybe. But if it has like a Walk-On Berry, but it doesn't. So Discharge just does the job here. So that's gonna be it for this battle, guys. Thanks a lot for watching, and make sure to check the description if you're interested in these tournaments. This tournament was in the Spear Pillar Discord. It was a lot of fun. I've been in a couple other tournaments. They're pretty interesting. And yeah, it's just a pretty cool place to do battles on BDSP. So thanks a lot for watching, and egg out.